If you enjoy this video, like it good. My name is Troublemaker and I'm pretty good. Hello everybody, my name is Troublemaker. This is the Wargame Cup 2012 tournament put on by Eugen Systems, the developer for the game Wargame European Escalation, which is what you're seeing in the background. This is the Blitz map, and it's a pretty interesting map. Lots of spread out locations, very hard to create flanks and centralize. And this is a map in which blitzing, that is congesting forces, has a very good chance of winning. Whereas Tigga, who is right here by the way, normally goes for a big wide flank and slowly encapsulating. He won't be able to do that this time. Neither will. Tigga, of course, #1 rated player in the world. Always a pleasure watching this guy play, and he does a lot of good stuff. Very high APM player, very good. Something like 2400 rated, maybe a little lower than that. And his opponent is a guy who I really don't know much about. His name is Andy. He's made it this far, so he has to be decent. He's not the scum of the earth, whatnot. This is probably going to be a little bit of hero praise type stuff for Tigga. If you get red really fast and you're watching the Tigga, you might want to pause now and get yourself some vanishing cream. But Tigga's going for basically what I think is like one of the better power couplings. Helicopter recon, 4 gunship helicopters. I generally look going for 2 anti-tank gun helicopters. They're a little more expensive, but they allow you to pick off tanks and vehicles relatively easy. But this is very good as well. It's micro intensive, but it's very good if you can make it work. He's got lots of anti-aircraft vehicles, some tanks, some anti-tank teams, some we sell MK20s. And from Andy, who we just don't know much about, he's got himself another small cluster of helicopters, just 2, and he's got 2 Blackhawks, which means he's got 2 Delta squads in there. And of course, the Blackhawk helicopters become relatively useless afterwards, and a lot of these infantry and tank destroyers, kind of interesting. The position's very suspicious too, because the fact that it's on this road means he's probably going to go around this path. Might mean he's going for some sort of all-in. He does have the 2 command armors, which means he'll probably intend to take 2 bases. Generally speaking, in this tournament, people have been too cowardly to take Charlie. It's a very high-risk location. The big reason for this is quite simple. Big, giant area here. If a person can get a recon and an anti-tank weapon in range of your command armor, it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. The range of these things is like 1,000 kilometers, and you just need a lot of stuff to do that. And so Tigga is going to move up, and there's a lot of helicopters here for Andy. Andy, of course, wants to get these Delta squads inside these locations. Tigga, of course, this is pretty common. Tigga immediately stops this, blocks this attempt, and gets 1 helicopter. Will he block this? The Delta squads are actually landing. He might be able to pick off 1 of these helicopters. And he's pulling back, loses 1 Gazelle. Pretty big flop here for Tigga. Note the recon helicopter not in play there. Doesn't want to have that targeted down. And a little bit of micro back from Tigga. He's going to chew away what he can. The other Gazelle helicopter looks like it's going to go down. So pretty standard goodness here from Tigga. And it looks like Tigga's going to go for our 1-point base Foxtrot and for the 2-point bait Echo. Pretty common. You don't want to rush out. He's also got the FOB to protect, which is a stylistically Tigga type thing. There's very few maps where he doesn't get an FOB on. They pay themselves off after the 20-minute marker, and so if you get an FOB, it generally means that you're looking to play a long game. However, they do have a cost. You have to put some units there to defend them. You see Andy actually going to pick off an infantry carrier, maybe? Let's see if we can get that to work. So the Delta forces are in effect location. We have Tigga putting a Chasseurs FAMAS here. Might be enough. Yeah, these guys have the concussion grenade, so... And there's a lot of randomness to these kind of battles because of the concussive grenades. If the concussive grenades hit and stun everything, they're screwed. And actually, the Chasseurs FAMAS cleaned up. It's going to cost a little bit more for Tigga to clean that up. Tigga still has good lead, and here we go. This is what was going on. Tank destroyers and VABs going to secure this side of the bridge. And will he all in with this is the kind of question. Because realistically, there's 2 things you can kind of do with this. One, you can kind of all in. And the second is you can control this half of the map and move an FOB into this location here. It also allows you a fairly good strategic location to start spawning from. You can also put one over here. And it really changes the dynamic of the map too. Not a lot of players have been exposing this little fact. It's kind of counterintuitive strategy. But basically, and just pause here, by playing this side of the map with your commands, what you'd be doing is basically cutting the map in half, and let's say this side of the map here does not exist, and you transport it into a narrow corridor, like something like Hell's Highway, in which that case, you're going to have a lot more success with things like tanks and anti-tank teams and whatnot. So moving forward, it looks like, in fact, Andy's taking the middle location, which is kind of greedy. Of course, it's very hard to defend, and with so many units here, it might just signal Tigga to move his own command over there and move some forces up, because he's not an idiot. He's going to realize that if he doesn't do something about it, he will fall behind. He's getting, looks like tanks, and the Gazelle recon. Keep him very active with it. This is not a new recon. Just keep him active with it. He's actually rallying even more helicopters, going for 7 helicopters now. In fact, he's actually going to go move his command armor into the middle location and neutralize it. And Chasseurs Famas getting caught off guard. And will he be able to skirmish here? He's got a small opportunity. There's no anti-aircraft around here, so he's going to be able to pick off a few units. But as I say that, Andy does move up his anti-aircraft. And this is going to now be a slow game. I can guarantee you. It will be lots of nickels, lots of dimes. Currently Tigga with an 80-point lead. Pretty substantial, but not really enough. And we see Andy knows it's going to be a long game. He's getting an artillery. 30 minutes left, 30 minutes with artillery. Pays out pretty good. Looks like Tigga's going to rush by here. Andy does not see this. So Tigga's going to be able to deploy some infantry on the other side of the river. If he can do this, he'll actually be able to secure these woods and place some anti-tank, anti-air units in these woods to strike on the central location. Being able to get an anti-tank unit like right here would be critical. You could be able to fry most of these units. And Tigga does deploy some VABs, some chasseurs. He was doing this preemptively. It just so happens there's already stuff here. And with the AMX OFE, Andy is going to clean up a lot of this. The OFE, of course, is an artillery, and all artillery pretty much act the same. Very much anti-infantry units. And a few tank destroyers along the edges here, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. You can deploy anywhere along this edge, and they'll be able to hit anything in the open. So as long as he can see it, he can hit it. And these tank destroyers will be very pesky to deal with. They're also kind of risky to deal with in the first place, because if you put them too far out, it opens you up to helicopter attacks, which are kind of scary. I don't think they're very expensive. No, they're just like $100. Of course they're expensive. That's like very high veterancy as well. Looks like Andy's having a little bit of trouble cleaning up the squad, but weird thing, Andy's actually ahead. Yeah, that's weird. And very unexpected. Tigga, of course, does have the map advantage. He has a 2-point base here, whereas Andy only has the 1-point base. And he's actually moving some VABs up, and I'm not sure if this is spotting or what. A little bit of damage done there. Not really enough to make up for it, but with that, he's actually been able to get a nice vision of what's there and a very clear path. You see Andy's going to drop some chasseurs down in the woods. Pretty clean kill, and Andy's actually taking a pretty substantial lead. 100-point lead now on Tigga, who... he's playing pretty underwhelmingly, actually. And I rarely praise artillery. I think artillery is the worst in the game. But in a scenario like this, where you get artillery around 30 minutes and you just get the one, it pays off pretty fast. Like, he's now 10 minutes in the game. It's finally paid off. Very, very good. And for whatever reason, he's targeting this location. Probably thinks the command armor's there. I don't know why. And there's a lot of funny things that can also happen with artillery. I'll just pause it to show this off. Let's say the command armor gets hit. Let's say it gets routed. Routing can go any random direction. So let's say it gets routed in this general direction, right into this open field. Tank destroyers are in position to hit it. So artillery has a lot of really random stuff to it. That doesn't necessarily make it good. It makes it useful, though. And Tigga's actually so good. He's actually got 2 supply trucks sitting at the command armor, resupplying it as it takes damage. Now, the command armor does have massive amounts of morale damage, but if you look at the little white bars in the descriptor down there, you notice that's full health. It's just because Tigga's resupplying it. Tigga realized that he's got to keep his command armor inside this base to neutralize it. 2 command armors equals a neutral base in order for him to kind of stay in this game. All the while, you know, Tigga has his own multi-rocket launcher. Trying to move a little bit closer. It's a faster reinforcement point for his supply trucks. And, you know, as long as Andy can actually keep this artillery fire pretty consistent, he's going to do really well. And here comes 4 VABs, smelling fear. He's going to drop some VABs in here with some infantry vehicles, and he cleans up. And in fact, now the Rise patterns are forced to push forward. These vehicles are getting cleaned up, and might get one of these HEMTTs. Doesn't. Tigga, these multi-rocket launcher attacks, not doing that much damage. He's trying to go for the artillery, and the reason why he's going for the artillery is quite simple. It's the only thing he knows is there. Look at the Tigga cam. He doesn't know anything. So he just sees where the artillery is coming from. Tigga does deploy like 40 Fusiliers on this squad, cleans it up, reclaims this location, and so now he's going to be pretty secure and keep this location. And the reason why he's targeting here, just because artillery is actually the worst thing to shoot at, because artillery is going to be constantly supplied, which means that it's constantly going to be resupplied with hit points, which means that it's the thing that's least likely to die. And as I'm saying, this thing's got 3 hit points left on it, this one's got like 6, but still, it's like the worst. Tigga's going to slide in here. Tigga doesn't see anything, of course. He's deploying up front, and Andy actually doesn't see much either. He sees a single vehicle glimpse, but really nothing. And this is a weird little blind spot for both these players. It gives Tigga a really interesting opportunity to plan an attack here. All squads are deployed. And Abrams sideswiping. This never happens. Of course, Abrams is revealing itself on the bridge, meaning that Tigga will be able to defend anything coming in this direction. And Tigga has taken back the lead, by the way, quite a while ago. That push from Andy didn't go so hot. And here we go, Fusiliers versus Chasseurs. Chasseurs should lose this, however, Chasseurs have cover. Cover is pretty key in this game. If you don't have cover, your squad just get chewed apart. And I hope to God in air land battle they improve the animations on these infantry. I mean, that's the only thing in this game that's actually terrible is these infantry. Like, they all have, like, you know, no eyes and, like, you know, I'm a little picky, what can I say? And actually, this attack from Tigga looks like it's largely going to fail. There's a Fusilier squad that's walking around here. Does Andy know about it? He does. He should be able to deal with that. Tigga is trying to walk and chase down these artillery units. He might just try and run to the woods, which would be a smart play. It's very, very expensive to remove entrenched infantry from a wooded location. Very, very hard. It can cost you hundreds of units to do that. Andy, however, has maintained this Charlie location quite a bit, so he should be able to get a few extra units that he would otherwise not have. And he also has an Abrams positioned here, interestingly enough. I mean that he might try and snipe a command armor. In fact, Tigga might be overstepping himself. If these tank destroyers and this tank can move in and kill this command fast enough, move in fast enough without Tigga noticing, he can be a lot of trouble. And actually, Tigga's getting really close to this command armor. He might have already it looks like he's right-clicked on it. He has right-clicked on it. He's going for the shot. Fire's going off. So far, a miss. Can he get another one off? That's going to be pretty key. And no. A stun hits last minute. He will not get their shot off, and he will not get this command kill. That would have been a cheap, lucky command kill, if any. And hopefully Tigga knows some of this is coming. He does. He knows this is coming. He sees it there. And what does he have available? Ah, I see. He's bringing down some toes. And any kind of position right here will be good. The second they move up, they will get completely stomped by rockets. Rockets, of course, are pretty expensive as far as supply goes, and people generally try to avoid these vehicles. This map specifically has high support for these vehicles. They do very, very well on this map, mostly because these giant open areas, no cover, is it like 1,000 kilometer range? What's the range of it? 2,600 kilometer range? Yeah, that's ludicrous. Looks like a Weasel MK20. Gonna try and clean up some of these infantry units. doesn't really have anything here to challenge it. There are no anti-tank weaponry here. And getting a little bit close, gets the murder rolling deal. That is a huge steal. That's like a 60-point vehicle. And he's going to get out of here with relatively low damage to these R.u.s.e. So huge steal there for Tigga, who's been playing a very slow, methodical game, which generally what Tigga does. And here comes some rockets hitting the Abrams. The Abrams pulling back. He's got to pull back this Roland too as well. Yes, he does. And the tow's moving up a little more. That's about 2,500 kilometers. And now Andy kind of knows he can't move up. And to do so will be suicide. However, 6 minutes left on the map. That's it. We're going to see some last-minute mobilization here from Andy. And that's all we'll have. The tow is really picking apart at everything here. All because this AMX 10P doing reliable scouting information. The Rise Patton's moving up to chase things away. And stunned by the Cobra. Forced back. Not taking a ton of damage. These things are... they're like good old super soakers. And here comes the big last minute hurrah from Andy. Lots of VABs, lots of infantry. And it looks like they're mostly going to their death. And realistically, when you're at this point in the game, why just use this group? Why not just put everything forward? Why not take all your infantry, rush them forward, all your tanks, everything? Just go for one last hurrah. This I will never understand. And actually, Tigga is the one going for the last hurrah. He goes in and kills the command armor, and that should finish it. 600-point lead for Tigga. Honest to God, Andy's playing a hell of a lot better than I thought he would. Tigga is a nearly unbeatable opponent. I've said that about a lot of people, and they've lost, but he's nearly unbeatable. Wonder carry getting the action. I will say that if we see an upset and Tigga loses, that'd be very exciting. Very unexpected. But we're just not going to see it. Amidst all the all-inning that happened from Andy, Tigga just came in and sniped the command armor. That's so tactically smart. He just jumped in when the opportunity is fresh. He just knew when it was there. Very good game for Andy, though. He did 10 times better than I thought he would. Tigga, of course, we kind of knew he was going to win. It's relatively expected that he will make it to the finals. If he doesn't, I mean, I will be flipping bananas when I cook a banana surprise in a frying pan. Because this guy's sick. This guy's a great player. And he's eliminated. Tigga moves on to the round of 32. Tigga's next opponent is a winner of what? I think it's like r.u.s.e and Maxi. So, you know, Tigga's not going to be facing anyone insanely high level for probably, he'll probably hit someone around round 8 or 9, which is like the final 8 and the final 4. So, this guy's just going to be steamrolling kids. Andy put up a great fight. The difference in score, not as heavy as it should have been. I thought he did pretty good. Great match, though. My name is Troublemaker. I will have a lot more tomorrow. Many, many tomorrows. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow. No outro rap.